Now, your Emmy, an Emmy, one of yours, you've won a few Emmys, came for the Electric Company, and so many people probably recognize you from that more than anything else, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's two things that I really get immediate recognition for. The other one is Oz.
Oz, which you were terrific in that.
Isn't that interesting? Where I played the nun, who's a drug counselor. And
Pete, what was her?
Sister Pete.
Sister Pete, yeah.
Right. Isn't that interesting?
So
Those two very far apart things. But that's the nature of my career.
Yeah.
Every time that I've been honored by something, they will show a clip of many of my, the things that I've done.
Right.
And even I now say, wow, that's a breadth of work. Children's shows, Oz, Carnal Knowledge, the
same year as Electric Company.
Oh my God! I had to tell the producer of the Electric Company about the Carnal Knowledge. When he said, "Well, what do you do?" And I tell him, I talked Jack Nicholson into this aroused state, and I tell you. The blood left his head and went all the way in a pool around his ankles. He just said, you did?
Yeah.
I said, I'm sorry, but this was before I got this gig.
Yeah,
I'm so
before you went to the children's show.
He was having heart attacks. I wasn't thrilled either. I mean, and I really loved the Electric Company. I loved doing that show. Yeah. I'm very proud of having been a part of this experiment that worked so fabulously well for children.
Oh, beautiful.
My husband's Jewish aunt, who couldn't read in English, began to learn how to read English from this show for children.
Wow.
She said, Rita, darling, she said, I read today in the supermarket, the can of peas. I knew it was peas.
See? You're helping not just kids.
Isn't that darling?
It's great.
It's so sweet.
So, you've done all this stuff, like you say, and of course on Broadway you won your Tony as Googie Gomez. I love the character in The Ritz, which you recreated on film too.
Right.
Another iconic role for you.
She was such a great character.
Yeah.
I invented her actually when we were doing West Side Story. Dancers, when they always have their 10 minutes off, they do two things. One is light up, unbelievable, especially then.
Right, yeah.
We would all light up a cigarette, and then we would just try to make each other laugh. And one day, I sort of belched her out, and I said, okay, there's this Puerto Rican girl auditioning for the bus and truck company of Gypsy. And I immediately went into, I had a ding about you, baby. And everybody broke up. I broke myself up. I thought it was so funny. No talent whatsoever.
Oh, my God.
And Terrence McNally, who wrote the play, literally based her on what he'd seen me do at a party.
Oh, wow.
Which I did when I did Everything Coming a Rosa. He just literally fell on the floor. He thought it was so funny.
I love that. And now, one day at a
now
time.
we've got Lydia.
Lydia,
one
who
day
you've
at
got
a time,
a little bit
the
of that in
grandma,
there.
and there's that's my mom's accent.
Yeah.
But I love the way Lydia is also kind of technically hip in some ways. She says, oh, Jess, I saw that on the YouTube.
Pedro Pan was a program that started during the revolution to fly children out of Cuba and give them safe haven in the United States until Castro left.
Okay, so you were put on a plane to a new country where you didn't know the language?
Oh, yes.
Without your parents?
Yes.
And you were Elena's age, which would have made Tia Marucci my age.
Yes.
That must have been so hard, taking care of your sisters, since you were the oldest.
And to work with Norman Lear and these producers.
Well, that's...
How could you have not worked with him before? I don't know how that happened.
Never came up, never happened. It's interesting. I'll tell you what, I met him, he doesn't remember this. He was doing a pilot many years ago with Charles Durning, wonderful character actor, who was going to play the husband. And I came in to see Norman, whom I didn't know, to try out for the part of the wife. And I was then in my 60s. And I've always looked good for my age. Always, always, always. So I came in, and he just looked at me, and he said, and he wasn't rude, it's just, what are you doing here? I said, oh, well, I'm here to try out for the part of Charlie Durning's wife in your pilot. He said, Charlie Durning's wife? He said, you don't begin to look like you could be his wife. I said, but and I told him, I might have been 64 or something like that, but I'm 64. He said, honey, I don't care what you are. You don't look it. Get out of here.
Oh, my God. Well, that's kind of a compliment.
Now, it was a problem I had. And I remember going down to my car because I hadn't worked for 2 years, which for an actor is like a decade.
Right.
And I just sat in my car and I cried for 2 hours. And when I told Norman that story recently, he felt so bad. He said, oh my God, I had no idea. I said, of course you didn't know. But it was a problem that I had that became serious. Because, you know, essentially most actors will say to me, oh, poor thing, you know, you didn't look your age. Well, it hurt my career a lot.
That's interesting.
And I really didn't begin to look my age.
You don't look your
for
age
a long
at all,
time.
by the way.
85.
I know. It's like astounding to me because I would never guess that in a million
Good
years.
genes.
Yeah? Is that it?
My mom, my daughter, I think we just have these kind of genes. But it really played a terrible part in my so-called show business career, looking good for my age.
Yeah, wow. But one day at a time, this reboot, as they say, you know, bringing it to the Latino world here, and a cast, wonderful cast that you have
aren't they
here.
marvelous? Justina Machado?
Yeah, amazing.
She's killer. What an actress.
To do those scenes you do together.
And we're so good together. We have such a gorgeous chemistry.
Yeah.
When she and I have a fight scene, I'm always so thrilled because we get so ridiculously comical. The hands start going and the eyes are flashing. All the cliche stuff
Right.
comes out of us, and it's just delicious to do.
So great. It's so great to see that back on. And, you know, there's so much talk in the Academy every year, you know, when Latino actors don't get nominated and things, and roles that are really good roles, which you've talked about here, you know, in the past, that they stereotype and everything.
Well, you
Do
know,
think it's getting better?
Viola Davis said it all a couple of years ago, which is something I've been saying for years myself. You can't get the nominations if you don't have the roles.
Right.
So if you're going to do those cliched Latinos for the rest of your career, it ain't going to happen. Yeah. You have to have, you know, like I did in West Side Story.
Yeah.
That's what happened there. Yeah. It was, I think people were just, gee, they can act. You know, and they can dance and they can sing, that kind of thing. And she's absolutely on the money. Yeah. You need to be offered those roles and do them so that people will notice you in a very different light. Yeah. You're not just funny, you're not just comical. And that's the other thing about One Day at a Time that is so spectacular and different, that every single episode has a social issue, and somewhere in that 30 minutes there's going to be something extremely moving and very poignant. I don't know any other show that does that.
Not anymore. Norman Lear invented
that. Yes, he did.
Yeah, and so it's something to look forward to, and I hope we see many seasons of One Day at a Time.
I must tell you, you are such a wonderful interviewer. You're one of the best I've ever had.
Oh, you're
No, you
sweet.
know why? Because we're having a conversation as opposed to, and tell me, what did it feel like to win the Oscar? Oh, God.
Yeah, right.
Oh, please. And
Well,
you don't do that, and that's very nice. And if you think I'm flattering you, I am, but with a purpose.
You're nice. It's so much fun talking to you, and
Thank you, Pete.
best of luck as you go ahead in the next 85 years here too.
Isn't it great?
I love
to be
it.
85, have all this stuff happening? Yes.